anything. You got a fist? We'll play for it. Zed, why not? Yasuo, okay, no problem by me. The issue that I do have with Divine is, well, are they super confident with this? Have they actually put into practice to make the Yasuo composition work out? If they have, then by all means. Now, one team, they're gonna go back with the same composition they had last game. And I have to say, I mean, Xianyu on this Lee Sin, he had some shaky moments in that last game, right? You saw him jump in, get a kick off in the back, and then find like a nice target. Not the best, it's a nice target, but he's caught between like 4 people. And then he dies, and then one team is out there fighting a 5v4. Granted, yeah, the guy that you kick might be like half health, but it's still 5v4 nonetheless, and that's where we're starting to see one team falter.
So Divine not opting in or not falling into the Xayah Rakan trap. Normally for the past series, they kept trying to pair Hope onto Xayah whenever Quay had the Rakan, but they recognized that, you know what, the Xayah wasn't necessarily working out too well because it didn't have the best way of following up on damage. It's great at self-heal, but Hope wants to be a part of the party. He doesn't want to be the one poor guy that gets left at the house when everyone else moves on to the next bar and when everyone is going bar hopping, because then that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel nice to be left out. So Hope on the Kai'Sa can always use the killer instinct to follow up on everyone else's engage, and I was kind of concerned that Divine, after drafting Camille Darius into Yasuo, they didn't have any ways to facilitate Yasuo's last breath apart from him just getting and generating his own knockups, because you can do that, but it's not usually the best, because then Yasuo has to put himself into very dangerous situations in order to self-generate that knockup, and usually you want Yasuo coming in off of the engage so that he has a full HP bar and can maximize his damage output in those fights.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see if Divine Esports, you know, I feel like they could be prepping for something in the future over here. Like, you know, practicing and bringing that out, possibly, you know, training for maybe SPTC in the future. But before that, we are gonna step into the present with Game 2 of Divine Esports versus One Team. Casters, over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Mika. This is it. Divine Esports is 1 win away, sending One Team home, the first runner-up from Summer Super Cup, a series, a game where all stakes are on the line for One Team.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy looking at Divine Esports' journey towards the SEA Championships. Imagine, summer season, they didn't even qualify for the Summer Super Cup. They were at 6th place. And now, during the fall season, they've managed to get that 2nd seed in, even qualifying for the group stages of the SEA Champs, coming from the lower bracket during the play-ins. And I think that's absolutely crazy. And look at them here now. Even though they were sent down to the lower bracket in day 1 of the playoffs, they're looking really solid. They were able to put up a good fight against EVOS, especially during the early game at the first 3 games, I suppose. And One Team right now has been struggling, utilizing this Lee Sin as Xianyu takes another chance at this pick.
Yeah, the early game aggression we could expect coming in from One Team. From this Lee Sin, level 3 power spike is where it's at. If One Team can utilize this jungler rotations, this jungler padding, I think this is an absolute menace of a champion to play against.
And we could possibly see a copy-paste of Xianyu moving towards topside to create pressure to enable Kid here on this Riven. We've seen it before. We've seen him linger around, most likely trying to set up a dive. Riven, Lee Sin can be deadly, especially level 3. And if only Kid is able to set that up, try to harass Tanex a little bit on this Darius. Once you have the full combos all off cooldown, that's the time you reinitiate.
Yeah, and look at Xianyu. This is what we're saying. The early aggression come from One Team is something we could expect. And now Tanex is fighting 1v3 as Baya comes up. But Tanex, you know what? Chill for a while. This is the early game. Go back. Go back.
Yeah, Divine basically has seen this coming. The top and jungle practically hasn't changed from game number 1. And the fact that Divine is on a Kai'Sa means that, okay, we're gonna let Hope 1 farm, possibly be involved in the fights for later rotations, such as the early Rift Herald takes. And for Divine, they're happy about this one. One Team, you know, they've decided just, hey, we're just gonna trade buffs for now and see where this takes us. But I think the biggest difference is that One Team doesn't have the Galio anymore. Nothing to make sure that Baya is alive. So I think that is going to be a little bit worrying. So One Team should be a little bit hesitant on where they will decide to pour in the Moonfalls.
Yeah, they change it onto a Gragas. I think this is a soft counter that they want up against Len if Explosive Cast is there. I think they want to secure onto just the safety of Ninja 7 or potentially even Baya as well later on if ever it happens for Divine Esports. As we all know, Len is probably one of the junglers that is really good at carrying the team, is really good at pressuring for his team. So I think that is something that one team is respecting in the draft composition. You know what? We need to have something to target onto Len to try and make us safe.
Yeah, he's able to bridge the gap. I mean, looking at the earlier iterations of Divine Esports in this tournament, it was definitely more on playing early to mid game compositions and basically snowballing. Len, whether or not he synergizes pick-wise with Coyote or not, he's still able to carry the game and transition towards the mid game. But this is a different story now from Divine. This is them playing the scaling. Coyote's going to be absolutely insane every single time a knock-up is going to happen. And most of them, you know, Coyote can self-set up, but at the same time, they've got Quay here on the Rakan with the Grand Entrance. And Len, on the other hand as well, will be able to hold down targets with the Hextech Ultimatum. And I feel like it has been the soft answer against poke long-range champions such as the Varus. I think there are only two options, Jarvan 4 or maybe a Camille, which has now been open so far in their first two games.
Yeah, we see how Quay play Rakan. Even from their prior series, they did not win that series in the upper bracket, but play style from Quay, absolutely phenomenal. He sets up for his team onto those knock-up. Absolute insane. So we can expect maybe something the same. If they can replicate that type of playstyle coming from Quay, that's a good setup coming from Coyote to go for the last breath and follow up with those setups.
Possibility as well. Oh,
But one team actually locking down onto Len, kills him. First blood for one team. But look at Quay, quickness for Baya. But Baya, Moonfall, gets a knock-up. With
Coyote?
that, but Coyote is gonna get killed. The
Tonic.
Hasage almost saves him, but he doesn't. And Quay just jumps in to try to save another, but he just gets eviscerated in one team, gets 3 kills, and also the objective taken for this team.
Divine Esports' team fight on paper will look decent. You've got the setup for Coyote as well with the knockoff, but they came in one by one as we take a look at the replay. Len banking on the 50-50 smite, but again, take note, one team's composition are just full of stuns, full of hold, full of lockdowns, and it's just going to be so difficult if you don't have the team with you, and this is basically, you know, one team, or Divine rather, just wanting to get out of the fight. Again, this composition doesn't have disengage, so once they're in, either they're forced to full commit, even though they're already on the losing end.
Yeah, that is definitely something we need to see, that we need to expect, because currently, as we keep on saying, prior to even in the series, that one team, when they get their lead, when they can get that, they could pivot their way top, in mid, in late game. They could pivot their way into success there coming from that. And I think One Team Esports is trying to replicate that type of strategy in this game. Get the early lead, we can punish. Now Coyote is fighting 2v1. But that's going to get blocked. Sonic Wave, Wind Wall, easy counters.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty sweet deal. One Kid, though, has been busy split pushing.
Yeah,
Let's see if there's a
Sianyo,
steal. Nope.
he just attempted. He just attempted.
an
One
attempt.
team is just hovering around the backside. Divine Esports going for the dragon, gets it. And when it's done, one team just goes back. We cannot.
Yeah, I feel like that is just the trade of First Blood Tower versus the Air Drake, which I think is very important for Divine to deny away from one team, because this is a big... this could end up potentially be a roaming death squad. The fact that Kid is already ahead, 3,000 gold lead almost, by the way, versus Tanex is gonna be is a huge problem for Divine to deal with, because while Xianyo and Kid managed to pick the same picks earlier in game number 1, they never really got Kid in the lead. We'll see here if they can punish.
Look at the level difference though. Level 7 for support. Ton X88. Who's gonna get this down? But Hexic Ultimatum will lock him. 3v1 will kill down Kid.
Really nicely done by Divine Esports. They know that a 2v2... Whoa, hold that thought though.
One. Very in a bad
Moonfall.
position. One team jumps in. Format gets a kill again. In bot side, this is the trade that they want from top side 1 for 1.
Coyotes alone.
Yeah, he is fighting this alone. He is the lone man standing. Can he
Wait.
do it? Can he survive? But Windwall just to secure his life, and Quay is there to respond. Divine Esports, Coyote is safe to go back.
One team isn't able to finish off the kill. Quay is able to go back in time. And the fact that one team also unleashed the Rift Herald in the middle, Divine basically neutralized that threat and is able to even get chip tower damage in the mid lane. So I feel like this is a really good deal for Divine. But at the same time, they're still lacking in gold. 4K gold deficit now. One team having a better start compared to game number 1.
Yeah, and this has many factors, right? Pretty much Divine Esports in the first 3 minutes into the matchup, Tanex and topside did not get 3-4 waves because of the constant pressure from one team. And on top of all that, they have the 3-kill lead. So even if, Divine Esports got the Cloud Dragon, even if they had that opportunity to get maybe the Rift Herald, maybe not, this is where it's at. One team is leading the early game pack here.
Could be another dive again.
Yeah, one team is setting up. They want to
Okay.
engage. Explosive cast. Zone's away the enemy team. They just secured the turret. They're going to go back.
They have to go back mid lane though because Tanex is so close to destroying that tower down. We'll see. He does have the stone plate. Not going to be the proto belt enchant. Look at this. This is really nice rotations coming from Divine. One
Ooh,
team.
Almost. One team.
Not bad.
2v3. But look at that. The last breath actually gets it onto Sianyo. Forces out the Stasis enchant. But
Collapse.
Siu gonna get killed with a guillotine.
Whoa.
Followed up with another.
Double
as
kill.
Sianyo will die. And now Kid is fighting this alone alongside with 2 more members as they get in for the quick response for a 2v2.
Really nicely done by Tanex. Is able to get 2 resets there. But the collapse again, the numbers disadvantage, and the fact that Kid arrived in the scene. Remember, he's in the lead. And it's absolutely scary if he becomes involved in these fights. Especially when Divine is so clumped together. That is exactly not what you want. And I feel like the biggest threat as well, item-wise, because Divine, there's a lot of AD physical damage going on. One team can easily sort of itemize around this composition.
And pretty much one team is not even giving space to Divine Esports. Yes, you get this initial advantage of getting turrets, getting kills, but we get that trade as soon as it happens. And this is what one team wants. They want to win it. They want to have that lead. Because when you're looking at Divine Esports, Hope 1 and Coyote is killing in the late game. So if they do this, this is constant punish. This is so devastating for Divine Esports to try and make it back.
And they have to be careful not to give too much to one team every single time they want to contest these objectives while waiting for Coyote and Hope 1 to scale. It is a very tricky line to cross. And now Divine, at least Tanex was able to get 2 kills earlier, meaning he's able to catch up a little bit towards Kid. He's still 1 level deficit versus Kid over here, but Ocean Drake already being started.
Yeah, Divine Esports is just waiting around the corner, waiting for that opportunity. Down to 2K for the Ocean Dragon. Now Divine Esports jumps in onto the
Nice
Dragon's pit. And Divine Esports
Wow.
gets the steal on the Ocean Dragon. And one team does not have an answer. But Kid wants it. He wants to get that trade on a kill. But look at the Hexic Ultimatum coming from Bai into the backside with a
Killer
Moonfall to follow up. Last crit saves him. Actually gets an extra shield. But one team still gets a kill on Coyote.
Resets?
And Ton X is
What?
making miracle. Gets 2 resets.
kill.
Gets double kill. And now one team has lost another. Ninja 7 will fall. And Divine Esports gets the triple.
I find it insane that Hope 1, the carry, was the sacrificial lamb to keep Ninja 7, CU, everybody else from one team in the backline to be busy, therefore having the fight into 2 while Tanex is able to do Darius things, get resets, and this is exactly what we were talking about. Let's take a look at that replay again. Look at this. The zoning that Quay and as well as as Tanex is doing is just really, really great. They're able to steal the dragon. Look at this from Hope 1. The killer instinct into the backline basically halves the fight into 2, keeping Shanyo and Kid busy. By the way, Kid, the most fed member of the team, not involved in the important part of the fight. Therefore, Tanex had space to do Darius things and basically get resets and basically win the fight. This is the snowball, the domino effect that we saw Tonex getting 2 kills was so critical for that dragon fight.
Yeah, and when Kid came up into that fight, he just gets dunked by Tonex and gets killed. So he can't even provide value in that most important fight in that bot side of that matchup. And Divine Esports is now slowly but surely building up into that differences onto one team. Only 2k gold as of now. A while ago, it was 3k, 4k up against one team.
Yeah, the difference now because of both top laners being able to get kills now, feeding in towards Tonex here. Kick.
Tianyo with mechanical play kicks on Tonex. Tonex still gonna live a bit longer, but he gets laid down by Kid. And now Baya, backside, mechanics, pushes in, dashes in, but quickness and grand entrance charms him up. Baya forces out the stasis engine. Tianyo once again in backside gets a kick, but will not pull through. One team will just get the kill on Tonex with no trade for Divine.
And that is the combo that we're looking for coming from Shanyo with the Dragon's Rage into the Chain of Corruptions. I think that's really, really sweet to be able to get a pick. But yes, their target is Tonex, being able to cash in here and there for shutdown gold. I feel like one team will eventually have this 4 Zonius enchant set up just to deny and save that stasis whenever Tonex is going to dunk every single time. It's very, very important. That for Ninja 7 isn't exactly a priority because he'll always make sure that he's not going to be in range of Tonex.
Yeah, and that's important because if Ninja 7 just comes up front line, he's just gonna get beaten down by Divine Esports pretty much, right? So I think it's important that he stays backside and he understands that. He knows that is his important role, to deal damage in the backside, while Divine Esports is sort of the front line, is go for the hyper engage. As now we're seeing it happen. We're seeing it come into fruition. We're seeing that Baron domination here for both teams.
And it's been so critical. That is exactly why Shanyo would constantly visit topside to make sure Kid is able to be unlocked on whatever pick he desires in the game. The same thing, Tonex, whether or not Len is involved as well, he's able to be that mountain, that solid, stable Baron laner for Divine Esports time and time again. And now, this is such a critical point in the game. Despite one team being in the lead gold-wise, Dragons, Divine Esports has it all. And Len possibly stealing another objective is just around the corner.
Yeah, this is what it's known for. Len just constantly gets a steal, but one team secures the Master Dragon.
Oh,
but a 4-man knockoff. Lost Breath will get the 3. And now it's Divine Esports taking a lead, but one team actually secures the backside, gets a kill onto it. And now Ninja 7 and Siu will fall, and Divine Esports is slowly pushing back the lead of one team into a minimum, only down into 1k gold.
Yeah, Ninja 7 is gone. Siu is gone. They have no disengage. They have no strong, tanky frontline engage available. It's going to be a 5v3 situation in the Baron.
Look at Kid, though, fighting 1v1 up against Tonex, but here comes the crew. It's Baya jumping up, but he will be saved jumping into Dragon's Pit. And now Kid will be the only one left, but too mobile, too quick. Tonex uses the flash. Almost getting the hit. What?
Bleeding? The shield.
No. Oh, my.
Look at Baya. Look at this position. Is he going in?
TPs are also coming up. 2 TPs at the very least. And now one team jumping into the Baron. It is left open for Shanyo to take. And they get the steal. Now it's Kid going for the double kill. And Divine Esports is left for Hope 1 and Quay to defend as one team just eviscerate that team fight.
That is a crazy turn of events. One team, Xianyo, he had eyes on the Baron. Look at the death timers. Look at the teleports. 30 seconds without Coyote, Len, and Tonex. This is going to be really, really tricky for Divine.
And they're pushing mid lane. They're pushing it. And Divine Esports had to defend if they want to leave the opening for them to come back in the later situation. But one team is pushing it harder. TPs are not coming up. Xianyo is here into the fray. But Rakan, grand entrance with a quickness, delays it. But Divine Esports will not be able to hold on. And one team takes game 2 as they take it to the 3rd game.